Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Watchlist. If you're unfamiliar, Watchlist is a monthly sort of TV guide where I tell you like, hey, this is what's coming on TV. Obviously, most of it's tailored to what I like. I hope that it's some stuff that you're interested in too. First thing on the list on May 1st is we have the return of Lucifer. Very excited for this, especially with the way the winter finale ended off of obviously like Lucifer finding out the truth about Chloe. I mean, even then you have to kind of put quotes about it because even then we're not 100% sure about everything about when it comes to Chloe. But obviously like Lucifer feeling the way he's been feeling, obviously he went through a lot to heal Chloe, but even then it's still like things being in the situation they are. I saw one commercial which I quickly looked away, so I am going into this season not having really seen anything. So I'm very excited to see where things are. I did hear like one word said that I was like, I wish I had not heard that single word, because now it's like I'm gonna be expecting it. So obviously for anyone that hasn't watched it, like, you know, doesn't want to spoil it, I won't say anything. So, but very interested to see where things go down in the what is I guess is considered the spring premiere. So, and on May 5th we have the rest of season 2 of the Netflix series Sense8. If you're unfamiliar, maybe you haven't watched the show, which I highly recommend you watch the show. It's a very good show in my opinion. But if you're wondering why I'm saying the rest of season 2, it's because back in December a Christmas special of Sense8 was put up, and this Christmas special was actually the first 2 episodes of season 2, and on May 5th the other 10 episodes of the season are coming out. So very excited about that. I'm very curious to see what they've decided to do with season 2. I like what they did with like with the Christmas special, so I'm interested to see how the rest of the season plays out. And on March 19th we had the premiere of season 3 of 12 Monkeys. Now a very interesting thing about this is that they're actually doing something a little bit different. Rather than obviously doing a week-to-week thing, they're actually airing the entire season over the course of 3 days. Like it starts on Friday and it ends on Sunday, obviously of the week of it premiering. So date-wise, that's May 19th through May 21st. So obviously I would check your local listings for the exact timing and stuff like that. I am curious though, I haven't really seen anywhere really bring it up, at least from the articles I've read, whether or not this is an international thing. I know this is definitely a thing within the US because it's a sci-fi thing, but obviously probably outside of the US it airs, 12 Monkeys airs on different channels, so I don't know if it's an international thing of like the entire season playing out like that or not. So if you live outside the US, I highly recommend that you obviously do your own research and find out if it plays out like that in your specific region. So to me that's such a fascinating thing that they decided to do that. It seems like a lot of people are kind of getting more into like the whole like, oh, binging, because I guess it's become like the de facto form of consuming media now. In case you don't know, I did cover season 2 of 12 Monkeys for Super-Fanta-Fi in its entirety, so I will be doing the same thing for season 3, but obviously I'll treat it like I do a Netflix show or just any show I'm binging, that I'll wait until all the episodes are out and I've watched it and kind of do like a single like one-off like season review. So, and the final thing on my list, on May 21st we have the season 3 premiere as well as the long-awaited return of Twin Peaks. Very excited about that. Twin Peaks is a show that obviously like I wasn't even born yet when the show originally came out, but it's a show that obviously I went back and circulated back to when I found out about the whole like it coming back thing. So very good show. If you have not watched Twin Peaks, I highly recommend you change that. It is currently on Netflix. That's where I watched it. But I also found out that Showtime has like all the episodes so that you can binge them on like demand and stuff like that, which makes sense because the show is airing on Showtime. Showtime's the ones who brought it. Showtime is the channel that brought it back. So the first episode will be a 2-hour-long episode. I was reading this article, which I'm still kind of fuzzy, and maybe it's just because I like misread it. But from what I was reading, it seems like after the first episode premieres, the next 2 episodes will be streamed online afterwards, and then subsequently after that it'll go back to a week-to-week scheduling. Now what I'm confused about is whether or not it means like, oh, those next 2 episodes will also be airing afterwards, but you could go ahead and watch them ahead of time online, or is it saying like you can only watch them online because subsequently the following episodes will take place after those 2 specific episodes. I know that's super confusing, but I highly recommend you look into it yourself to make sure, because like I don't want to, I'm sorry if I don't want to be here feeding you false information. Like I said, I read one article and I feel like I misread it. I didn't know how to really interpret that, so I could have been completely misreading it like that. So I highly recommend you look into it yourself if you're very curious. So I'm very curious to see what they do with Twin Peaks. Obviously, I remember a lot of, because it was like a year or two ago when I watched it, so I am going to have to refresh my memory and like rewatch it again. I'm very curious to see how they pick. Obviously, the show is picking up 26 years later, especially after the way the original show ended like that too. So, and obviously this has got to be like a record for itself too, like the biggest gap between a show like ending / being canceled to being brought back like that. This has to be like a record. So I'm very interested to see where they go. I get the feeling like I just have this inkling that the show is going to be even weirder than it was before, which is saying a lot because the show was naturally very weird, but I'm sure they're going to kick up the weirdness level even more in this day and age. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. And so that's all I had on my list for this episode of Watchlist. I know it's like a really short one. More so than anything, I've looked at the schedule. It seems like more so than anything, the only thing that's coming up are a lot of season finales, and I'm not really mentioning season finales. It was kind of like a one-off thing I did before. Like always, don't be afraid to add some stuff that I might have obviously missed, especially when it comes to this month. I mean, I should say May, considering the fact is that I am recording this like way ahead of time. So, but if there's anything coming out in May that you want to tell me, or as well as anyone else that might come across this video, tell me in the comments down below. Well, tell us in the comments down below. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.